guys, SMK Gaming here. Today I've got something a little bit different for you. I'm going to start doing a series of short Battlefield 1 tutorials called In the Know. These tutorials are aimed at improving your awareness, tactics and thinking on the battlefield. If you're really serious about becoming a better player, the information contained within these tutorials will help you with that. They will also help you better understand what you're doing wrong and how to better react in a given situation. So therefore over time, this new response becomes automated and you no longer have to think about what you're doing. You just do it in a similar manner that muscle memory works. Sound good? I hope so. The first part in this series will revolve around offensive and defensive flanking maneuvers. Yeah, I know what you're thinking and saying. I know what flanking is, I know how to do that. Well, maybe you do, or at least you think you do. But before you hit that exit button, do you know when the optimal time to flank is and when is the most effective time to deploy this tactic? Be honest with yourself now. Well, today that is what I'm aiming to show you, using a series of short illustrations and clips from my own gameplay. So we'll get started? Let's get going, guys. First, the basics for anyone that is new to the Battlefield franchise. What is a flanking maneuver or a flank attack? It can be defined as an attack on the sides or rear of an enemy force. It's often seen when attacking a team head on. So, nothing new there, guys, you all knew that, right? I'm sure you're all nodding your heads right now, which is good. If you're not, well, you're probably kind of screwed and probably should give up Battlefield. Just kidding, you really don't need to give it up. Anyone can learn this stuff, you just have to be prepared to learn it. Next up is why use a flank attack. Well, in relation to Battlefield 1, because you guys know this isn't real life tactics we're talking about here, right? The ultimate goal is to surround the enemy from 2 or more directions, surprising them and eventually overwhelming them. To illustrate, here we have an aerial view of the conquest map Argonne Forest. You have the Americans to the left and you've got the Huns, the Germans to the right of the map. It is a very linear map, like many others in Battlefield 1, and that is most likely because of the new game mode Operations. Upon spawning at their respective bases, everyone knows how this carry-on goes by now. The Germans quickly take Edward and Duff, and Americans take apple and butter. Personally, I've never had that crap myself, but whatever those Yankees like is up to them. They did come up with peanut butter and jam after all. Yuck. Anyways, there will be individuals from both sides who will not bother with the 2 closest objectives and will sprint as quickly as they can to Charlie, as they're so damn eager to be involved in the clusterfuck of bullets and grenade spamming that often occurs here. For the purpose of this video, let's call these guys Hans on the German side and Travis on the US.
Attack! Take that objective!
Yeah, I know, how stereotypical of me. But what else do you want me to call them? Aldo and Brad? Oh wait, damn it, sorry, I just can't help myself. We'll just stick with Hans and Travis for this video. Hans and Travis' eagerness in pushing the objective usually will not make one bit of difference, and as everyone else arrives, they unload all of the arsenal on the poor chaps who are lying on the bridge. Eventually one team will take the objective and bunker down. For the sake of this video, let's say those pesky Germans, as was the case during the war. When this occurs, I sometimes feel like there is an invisible wall up in front and it is very hard to break down, especially when both teams are evenly matched. So what can Travis and his apple and butter eating compatriots do to overcome this?
I don't know.
Well Travis, here's your answer, and this leads me on to when we should perform a flanking manoeuvre. If attacking an objective head on isn't working because the enemy's numbers are superior or they are more heavily fortified, remember the Germans could potentially have 2 field guns as well as a heavy machine gun available on that side of the map helping them. A squad, or ideally members within a squad, should break away down either flank. These areas are usually weaker than the front line, as the majority of the enemy's attention should be focused on the head-on attack. So does this sound like a situation Travis and his American friends find themselves in?
Yeah.
Yeah Travis, I agree. And now would be the optimal time to try a flanking manoeuvre. There are 2 flanking options available on this map at this point. Option 1 is the western route and can start from either the bunkers of Butter or to the left of Hellfire Junction Bridge, which is the C objective. This route is now shown in the top left of the screen. From this clip you will see that this route has tight corridors and quite close combat, therefore this route is best suited towards assault class. Beware of enemies in the following locations. In the video I'm able to push in behind and I'm now communicating with my teammates that I have done so. I am also watching out for enemies pushing from Duff now that they have been pushed back from the head-on attack. Always keep an eye on what objective your enemies have, this will give you some kind of idea of where they might come from. The second flanking option is the eastern route, which starts from a tight corridor on the American side beside a broken down train. The route shown here is ideal for the medic and scout classes, as once through the corridor it is much more open and longer range. Expect to encounter enemies in the following locations on this route. You should always be checking these places, as smarter players will sometimes stay silent and wait until you and your teammates have gone past. Then they will flank you to either kill you or push an objective behind your attacking line. When it comes to using either route, remember that the chances of performing a successful flank attack are greatly increased if the enemy is engaged head on. If you flank the enemy and they are not engaged head on, they will be much more aware of the surroundings and will be checking flanking routes more often. This leads me on to my final point. What can you expect to achieve from a flanking manoeuvre? Well, if done correctly, a fast and mobile flanking manoeuvre should usually take those in the defending position by surprise. This can result in one of two things: them losing the positions through loss of defending forces from the flank attack, or the flank attack directs sufficient attention away from the front line so the head-on attack can push forward and break through. In the opening minute of this video I told you I was going to talk about flanking and how to do it. I'm sure most of you guys thought that number one was the sole reason a flanking manoeuvre worked. You flank the enemy, you surprise the enemy, and you kill the enemy. Well, that's not always the case, especially in tight games. When you're up against better players and a better team, reason 2 can just be as important and can be the difference between winning and losing a game. It doesn't matter if you're in a group or if you're on your own, you can still deploy this flanking tactic and contribute to a weakening of the front line, whether that is breaking through the flanks and killing the enemy, or causing a distraction from the flanks. Both are viable options. A flank attack only requires a handful of players to be successful. I reckon no more than 4 or 5 players on either route. Dragging too many players leaves your own team open to be pushed back. Even one player can make a difference. A support player could be sitting there at the end of one of those corridors by himself, causing disruption, which then draws the enemy away from the head-on assault to a secondary fight, whereby weakening the main defensive line. Him being there is much more useful than being with the rest launching grenades at or across a fucking bridge. Remember, successfulness should not be determined on how many enemies you kill or if you break through the flanks. It's determined on whether or not you achieve your objective, pushing the enemy back, capturing the flag, and ultimately winning the game. So there you have it. A flank manoeuvre isn't solely about getting around the side of your opponent and killing them. It's much more than that. Yeah, sure, it might not always work. We've been in those games where there's nothing seems to work for us, or your team is simply shit. However, knowing what I've went over could come in handy and help you out a little bit. I'm now going to show you a number of different clips. There are 7 in total where I flank to defend an objective as well as attack it. In some instances, the aim is to cause a disruption for my team to exploit and push an enemy's position, or other times I'm on my own, I'm looking to flank, surprise them, kill them, and cap the objective. In this first clip, I am playing the Operation Conquer Hell. I am communicating with 3 other squad mates and we decide we need to take back Charlie, which is inside the ballroom. They are already inside and I am trying to clear the area around after they spot a few enemies for me. These areas around the ballroom are common for having enemy soldiers lurking around, waiting on you running out. Always sweep this area before moving on. Once this is done, I push on inside the building and we quickly take it. However, we immediately need to defend the objective as there are quite a few opposition soldiers who have been spotted in the corridors approaching the objective from Bravo, so I decide I will flank around and distract them by throwing a grenade so my 3 squad mates can push them and eliminate them. At first, I decided to sweep the area outside the ballroom again, and it was a wise choice as there was a few enemy soldiers out there. Unfortunately, at this point I run out of ammo and my primary weapon and all my teammates get pushed and killed. We change tactics and decide to push them from both directions simultaneously, 2 from each side. Me and a fellow squad mate will push first to turn them around in our direction, and then when they are focused on us, the other 2 can then do the same from behind and take them out. It comes off perfectly, and we end up killing between 8 and 10 soldiers between us, and we end up retaking Charlie from them. In this clip, I am making my way up to Charlie on the Soissons conquest map. I was attempting to do the same earlier from the other side when I was killed. On the kill cam I could see there was quite a few enemy soldiers overlooking butter, so I am now attempting to come up from behind and surprise them. When on the objective you can see I'm greatly outnumbered, but I managed to kill a couple, check my flanks and then kill another couple. There's at least a few more there, so I attempt to flank them to the left and it works and I kill a few more. However, it is at this point I get a little overexcited and make 2 mistakes. The first is not flanking them to the right, and the second is round the corner when still in the reload animation. As you can see, I got killed. However, my efforts still paid off, and because I kept them distracted long enough, they didn't notice my approaching teammates and are killed themselves. I end up getting revived, and together we secure the objective. In this third clip, I was originally trying to help take out an enemy tank on the hillside when I was engaged by 2 or more players to my left in a small courtyard. I am now trying to get into cover, regain my health and flank them. One of them leaps over the wall, perhaps looking for me. It was an easy kill. We'll see more again of him later. There are still more to my right as I can hear them moving around. Luckily at this point someone spots them, so I take this opportunity to leap over the wall and surprise them. Originally there were 3 of them there, but the guy before picks a very bad time to respawn this teammate and I kill him again. Unlucky fella, we've all been there. In this clip I am playing a round of Conquest on the map Rupture. I have just been killed by snipers a couple of times while trying to take Butter, which is the objective in the bridge. They have been preventing us from taking the objective for a while now, and on previous attempts to get them, I was killed while trying to cross the river on both sides of the bridge. I noticed that a squad mate has managed to get around, so I spawn on him hoping to flank them from behind. I am now behind him and it turns out there are 4 of them, a couple of scouts, some of them lying prone, unaware that I am there. A common mistake players make at this point is they panic and throw a grenade. Now, this may kill a few of them if you're lucky. However, what is certain is it will make them aware of your presence and increase the chance that they can turn around and kill you. Remember, the purpose of a grenade is to get players out of cover so that you have a clear shot. I have a clear line of sight to each of them and can kill them all with ease before they know that I am there. We then proceed to take the B objective following this, and we end up turning the game around and winning it. During a game of 40-man operations, we have been pushed back to the last 2 objectives on Suez. To make matters worse, we have been flanked and lost Butter. Thinking that the enemy would be looking towards apples for our advance to try and take it back, I spawned back at base to proceed from there. However, they are in fact looking that direction and I am killed. On this attempt that you are seeing now, I spawn at apples and make my way from there to try and catch them from behind. I cautiously approach knowing that there's at least 1 player facing the A objective due to the AT rocket that was just fired a moment ago. My squad mate in a tank is providing a distraction as I approach, which is helping things. When there were in fact 2 players, both of whom I easily killed as they were focused on the tank. Next up are the 2 guys, a scout and a support player, who were firing at me previously. Once they are taken care of, we clear the rest of the area and take back the objective. This clip is from the same game as the previous one. Again, I'll set the scene first. We have gained some kind of foothold in this game now and are defending well. We have just destroyed their train as well as a heavy tank approximately 10 seconds apart. I got one of them with 5 guys in it and my friend got the train with 4 to 5 in it. Playing a 40-man operation now means that half of their team could now be running from their base spawn. Therefore I push up to the side of the sand dunes waiting on them running past and then will come at them from behind. First I check that there was no one there. There is, and I managed to get them both before I am noticed by the rest. I then manage to flank the others from behind, I kill a few more and my squad mates get the rest. Another successful flank that has pushed them back. The final clip is on the second map, Argonne Forest, during the Operation Conquer Hell. Myself and 4 other squad mates are having little luck in trying to capture the B objective from the bunker. So we decide to try and flank them to the right while 2 other teammates provide a distraction on the railway tracks. We have some resistance on the flank, but nothing the 3 of us can't handle. This type of attack must be done swiftly for it to be effective and not give the enemy time to regroup. Notice that even though my health is low, I don't really stop to heal. I push on and rely on health from a teammate or a revive if required. I recommend you do the same even if you are on your own. We get in behind, but I get spotted and taken out. But I managed to give these guys locations to my friends and they clear the area and revive me. We then managed to take the B objective. This is pretty much the only flanking option you have during this section on this map during a game of operations. Make sure that you push hard and swiftly. If you kill a player or players and wait around to regain health, they could have respawned in that time and are waiting on you. So there were several different clips that I hope provide you guys with some kind of insight into how flagging works and how effective it can be after I went into the theory of it earlier. Some things to consider are, do not be afraid of failure. Sometimes you have to probe different areas and find weaknesses, which results in you getting killed. In quite a few of the clips I have just shown you, I died in my first attempt. However, from that I learned and was usually successful in my second attempt. If it requires a third attempt after a second failure, so be it, just go for it. Overloading the flanks is not the answer. It can leave you open to being counter-attacked and you can quickly find yourself on the defensive side of things. Squad up, guys. There is no excuse for anyone in this game not to be able to team up with other players. There are numerous options available to squad up. Have a look at scoreboards at the end of games and add players from that. Send them the complimentary "you seem a good player" message and that you would like to add them as a friend and team up sometime. 9 times out of 10 they will not have a problem with it. If you want players from your own area, have a look on the leaderboards on Battle Tracker. There's a link in the description below. If you're not familiar with the website Battle Tracker, it is a website where you can track your in-game stats as well as see how you rank against other players. You can also see leaderboards for literally anything in the game. If your own team is lacking that medic or support player, you can find that person from your own area and add them. Another option is to join one of the many different Battlefield 1 communities on the PlayStation Network. On there are public parties that you can join, so you can squad up that way, guys. There is literally no excuses, none whatsoever, not to have friends in this game. I did say earlier that you can flank on your own, and that is true. I also demonstrated this in a few of the clips I just shown you. However, it does have its limitations. Being in a squad and communicating with other players can feel godlike at times when you run in behind and take out half a team. So get adding other players, guys. Another thing to consider, and I'm going to go over it again one more time, is distraction. I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. Do not underestimate how well this can work. Take a look at the final clip again. Watch the minimap and see how my teammate goes down the train tracks to attract their attention. He does end up getting killed, however, when my team and I get around the back of them, they are all facing down the tracks. It is just something we do automatically. Those guys are not going to think to themselves, oh, I wonder if this is a distraction. I wonder if 3 or 4 other guys are coming around my flanks, I better check there. No, they see a player and they want to kill that player. That is how the majority of the Battlefield community think. Now you guys watching this video on the other hand, can now consider yourselves in the know. But how you use that knowledge is up to you. Will you carry on in your old ways, or will you actually start thinking and reacting to what is happening in front of you with an effective strategy? It's up to you now, guys. I can't do any more for you. If you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button and share it with your friends if you think it will be of benefit to them. Also, don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with my upcoming In The Know videos and any other Battlefield 1 content. Catch you later, guys. Thanks for watching.